1st of December today, so I thought I'd come down and dig in some of the green manure. So first job's been to, this is wild mustard, and so basically the idea, I've chopped it up, I'll let it rot in the frost first before I dig it in. I'm not going to dig it in as is, I'll let it rot first. It should go brown in the frost. This particular allotment is so nutrient poor that the green manure, you can tell the differences between the soil compositions on this clay soil, because this green manure is struggling to grow, and you can see how nutrient poor it is. And the same with these little patches that I've planted from seed here, and also to the other side of my drumhead cabbages. I had a very nice surprise. I was digging around the kohlrabi and I'd planted hundreds and hundreds of seeds and seedlings out, and I never thought I'd be able to grow these, but a pleasant surprise for me, some of my turnips actually have grown. So most of them just seem to have not survived the pestilence down here, but probably because I've ring fenced the whole area with garlic, and I've not used any like chemicals as in the type, you know, to kill pesticides. I've just used natural means of defence, but these are it's a big deal for me because it's the first time I've ever grown them down here. My next job's going to be to tackle this black currants here. There's 3 blackcurrant bushes here, and then back from the blackcurrant bushes I've got some red currants, and basically the idea is to carry on with the pruning program with them and gooseberries. And I've also been obviously tackling the blackberries and propagating them. And on the back row, my main job has been to make sure that I put down lots of small blackcurrant cuttings, because during the Second World War these allotments were used for that purpose, for growing things like blackcurrants and blackberries, of course. This is one which I think has originally come from that era that survived. It's a different variety than I've ever seen, and it was strangled at the back by vines, etc. I also decided to be nice to the wild birds. I've seen some greenfinches. You get greenfinches and lapwings, and sometimes you get song thrushes here if you're lucky. I have actually seen a woodpecker today, a large green woodpecker, so that's always nice. I do like to see a bit of nature when I'm down here. The Swiss chard's still doing very well down here, and my guinea pigs are very fond of the leaves, and I've tried some myself, obviously the stalks of it. And the other jobs I've got to do here are these trees. I've pruned these apple trees, the Red Discovery and Bramley, and I've got another tree that I've planted there, another apple tree there. So basically the idea is that I've planted these because they can cross-pollinate each other. But my mistake with them in the past has been because they're only grass, is to let them grow too tall. The idea, from what I've read, is not to pinch out the top branches, really have a go at them and make sure that, you know, they do need properly pruning down. In the middle there, that stalky plant there is a cherry tree grown from seed, and I'm going to heavily cut those so that they don't grow too high. And there's cherries at the back. There's 2 types of cherry trees there. So that's my next job. I've taken some of the sprouts whole, and these ones here, it says, from what I've read up, you can start taking them from the bottom of the plant and up and take some of the yellow leaves off. So I should carry on taking sprouts as and when I come down. And I noticed, even when I took over this particular plot, that despite all the pestilence and neglect, that sprouts have still survived down here, so I put some in of my own. Tried a bit of an experiment some years ago and brought some triple grafted pear trees. This one had Doyen de Camise, Coin de Chrétien and Beurre Hardillon, and I never really had much success, but now I brought them down to the allotment. This is one of the triple grafts here, and what I've been doing in this spray bottle here is I've made up bicarb and a little bit of washing up liquid, a little bit of olive oil, and I'm spraying it here where they get attacked at the winter time, and you get all sorts of things growing on them, like, for instance, lichen, and of course the dreaded, there's like a blight that's been hitting, like a sort of a spore that's been hitting pear trees this year. I ripped all the leaves off that were affected and basically got rid of them, you know, binned them, the whole lot of them. and so I've sprayed this tree now. I'm using bicarb at the moment. Later on, when they're more in bud and there's more chance of pests, getting hold again, I'm going to make a garlic solution, crush some cloves, again add a bit of detergent and a little bit of olive oil, and stick that on. That worked well. I tried that on a couple of pear trees in my front garden. It's a very small front garden, and they don't get much airflow, and that's what you need from what I've discovered by reading up. These trees do need airflow to stop the pests, but pear trees, watch out for them if you do have them. There is like a sort of a mildewy fungus attacking them, a rot that's attacking pear trees throughout the whole length and breadth of the British Isles, so that you need to treat them. With the black currants, I've just pruned one of them, so the idea was, from what I've seen on this, is to get it into a fan shaped and really open it up. And this one here, when you get northerly winds blowing onto the allotments, these ones here on the very sort of outside of this particular plot really do get the winds. I'm surprised they survived in the first year, but I did put fleece around them when they were very young. But that's what I've tried to open this up, and then have to do the same to its sister plant there. And I've got 3 of these black currants on the, facing the elements here. Most important, of course, was to make sure all of my pear trees were sprayed with bicarb at this time of year, 1st of December. These are the ones that are really going to have the problem. Apparently the spore is harboured by juniper plants. I do have one small juniper plant, so I'm really watching to see if there's any signs of infection. If there is, I'll have to remove it. But apparently that is also a host to this deadly rot which is affecting pear trees. These are 2 of the turnips which have grown. The first turnips I've ever grown successfully, and they're going to be peeled and then chopped up with some potatoes.